It's the stream. We are started. We here. I feel like I gotta crouch a little bit. Hi everybody. My name is History Williams, and welcome to the Historical Voices from the Eastside. As you can tell, we are recording on a different fucking type of format. We're not doing it on Streamlabs at all. We are doing it on Melon, which is the equivalent to StreamYards. So I'm proud of that, man. So let's give a round of applause for that shit right there. Oh shit! Can't even hear the sound. Oh.
You don't understand.
I'm excited about that. Well, with that being said, man, if you're looking at the stream, you're looking over to my right side over there. You'll see the actual guy right over there. His name is Jamel Watson. He's our actual movie reviewer. Over on the other side of Jamel, you actually have myself, which is JT the voice. I'm gonna put myself in the middle real fast. Let's drag myself over there. Boom. I'm in between these two guys, right over there. So JT the voice on my right side, left side over there is actual Jamel Watson. Big shout out to
my shoulder angel.
Just
wait, where's the other guy?
So with that, we are the Historical Voices from the East Side. My name is History Williams. Thanks a lot for joining, gentlemen. I appreciate you. I know that we are doing this another late night podcast. I really want us to be like the Arsenio Hall of podcasts eventually. Yeah, I remember. No, Jamel, you were a baby when Arsenio Hall was around, huh? I don't even think you were thought of.
Was.
I don't think you were even thought of. JT and me are about
sure
the
same age. Yeah, I was not around. That's I can't relate.
I'm about to say, I remember like Arsenio Hall maybe until I was like 8, 9 years old. What about you, JT?
I remember watching the Arsenio Hall show and just wondering why.
Why were you just Arsenio Hall is what he is, dog. I feel like,
but like, why was he on so late? It was the most afternoon talk show ever. It was on at such an inconvenient time. Like, I was like, why did they play Ellen DeGeneres? Like, this should be on at the same time with Rosie O'Donnell to Ellen.
You know,
no, the one you should have been saying why is Magic Johnson had a talk show in the 90s, and Keenan Ivory Wayans both had talk shows on Fox in the 90s. That's what you should be saying, huh? Why this?
That's a good pull. Because my God, man, it's fucking. I remember Arsenio Hall. I do remember a little bit of the episode where the most common one is the Bill Clinton playing the saxophone one. I remember Michael Bolton on there. That was like my biggest one was Michael Bolton and what's the alto saxophone player? I forgot his name. Kenny G. Yeah, I remember he used to. They had.
You need to go put on his Christmas album right now,
bro. Why is he not dubbed the King of Christmas? I know that he has a hard album.
Because Jesus was born.
I remember when Jason Voorhees was on Arsenio Hall.
I'm about to say I remember a bunch of wild ass shit.
That must
I remember
have been
when
a Rocky interview.
So, also Hulk Hogan was on there and denied that he used steroids, which was delightful to see.
I wonder if like Arsenio Hall drowned him with questions.
Drowned who with questions? Jason.
Yeah. All right.
All right, we're gonna let you sit in there. We're gonna let you sit there.
So, but enough on Arsenio Hall, man. I'm gonna invoke my salty edition for this motherfucker today. We get one salty every a month, and I want this to be the most saltiest episode fucking possible, because my God, man, we got to review a movie today, which is Friday After Next, and I have some fucking words with you, Jamel. I'm looking dead at you.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna have some words for you next week. We're gonna be fighting. We're gonna be fighting these next 2 weeks.
I thought about
I don't shoot, sir. Jingle all the way.
Jingle all. So And also I thought about changing my movie, man, but I might just do an extra
Please
episode.
listen, hold up. I'm salty that you picked that movie because I gotta ask you, what cut are we gonna get? Remember, I have spoken on this show about the different cuts of Jingle All the Way and how the cut that I got on VHS was not even as good as the cut that ABC put out when they aired it, or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was ABC. Was not even as good as their cut.
I don't know whatever one
So
is on my streaming service. So I don't know whatever my streaming service
they're
is.
not the same. They're not the same.
But I was thinking about because like Jamel picked Friday at the Next, and I really wanted to go to fucking blackest fucking like black or brown one too. And I was looking it up, and I was like, fuck, I couldn't find too many like real like Christmas movies that involved any other minority group. And like obviously, like I could do This Christmas with you could do This Christmas, right? That's okay. But I really wanted to pick one that was like, all right, cool. Maybe we can get some other fucking minorities involved in it. And there's not really any. So I did come across one other one, which is Harold Kumar, A Very Fair Christmas. And I want to do it because it has so many fucking like black brown people in it, and then you also have fucking South Asia dude, which is Pakistani, which is Kumar. Man, I think we could.
Listen,
Jamel, I'm looking at you.
At some point in time,
Sheffield toilet has a lot of brown stuff in it. That don't mean it's good.
And sometimes you just got to admit history for the culture doesn't always mean you take an L for the culture. But that's what we did this week with Friday After Next. More on that later.
I'm about to say, I feel like if you can suggest this,
you know what? Fine. We'll do Harold and Kumar at Christmas.
Let him reconsider both of them because both of them are subpar movies. You got any good Christmas movies? Scrooged?
No, man, I ain't doing Scrooge.
What about Scrooge?
No, man, I'm not.
What about the Grinch?
Or not doing the Grinch. I don't want to do the Grinch, man. I'm okay with Jingle.
We can discuss this off air. Let's get into the show.
That would be my other one. That would be Fred Claus.
We can debate this off air. Let's get into the show.
We salty about it, Jamel. Let's air it out, dog.
Like I'm
salty for a lot of things, and I don't want my mood to be ruined even further. I want us to get into the show so I can hopefully have this alleviated, and my night we can move on with the night.
Okay,
good.
But
good. Let the butthead flow through you. It will only darken the show. Let go.
And it's getting late, and there's some stuff we
bro, you sounded so awkward. Like, in this bag, I got contests. things that I
do it.
that exercise and a nigga. A book, a job application. Read, nigga, read. That's the way you sounded just now.
That was Palpatine, dog. That was influential Palpatine. Do it.
Uncle Ruckus. Still Uncle Ruckus.
Nah, Uncle Ruckus, no relation. Yeah. I can tell you darkies is a disruptive one. Like that's I can do Uncle Ruckus.
Oh man. So with that, see, my only claim to fame, I'm really good at fucking like sting meaner, but that's okay. I ain't gonna do that right now. Let's move on. Let's hit that shit. You might hear it come out one day. My name is no. What's my name? You know what I mean. But
one day was a Thursday, y'all.
So
how you gonna build it up and then drop it on us immediately?
This is what happens when you get up past the hump day. So with that, man, today has been an interesting fucking day. Man, fuck this. This is why we being salty. I'm gonna do say what I said a little bit different. I'm gonna go 2 minutes on a topic, and I want y'all to respond to my fucking 2 minutes.
All right.
And then we're gonna go from there. because I feel like we need to get really fucking salty about a lot of shit. My first one is something that I've talked about a lot on this motherfucker. For real. And it feels like it's been because we've been doing this podcast technically since June. I want to say June. We've been kind of like tripling and stumbling through it. We had a couple of times where we fucking played around with it a little bit between, but this is the one for real. We've been kind of this is the product is coming a little bit better every week. Which, by the way, man, kudos to this fucking audio quality. This bitch is going. This is not a bad space.
It's pretty good.
Sounds good. It's doing good up here.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm putting 2 minutes on the clock. My first one is right now. What the fuck, US? We took 10 months.
1-to-1 trade.
we took fucking
I knew it.
Like, yeah, dog. What the hell? And so I'm gonna say this right now. Fuck. What the hell, the US? You did a 1-to-1 trade for Brittany Griner and BG for short. We're gonna shorten up that fucking name. I feel like it's fucking offensive now. I feel like it's a fucking slap in the face for the culture. It's a slap in the face to anybody who has been a citizen of this country, a civilian of this country, however you want to put it, a person who served in this country, hands down. I get it. I am firmly on it when it comes to saying that yes, if you go to another country and you spend your time in that other country, that yes, you should know their rules, you should know their regulations, you should do the shit that's not that illegal. But it's starting to look pretty bad when Donald Trump got fucking the Ball family out less than a fucking month. Like, got them boys out real fucking quick. Joe Biden, who's supposed to be like saying that you ain't black, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. You took 10 months to get that fucking girl out. Now, I get it. They had the fucking Russia shit going on with Ukraine and everything like that. But at this point in time, there's no excuse. It's no excuse. Why did it take 10 months for that girl to get fucking released? Why did she have to be subjugated to fucking racism? Why did she have to be subjugated to being put into a fucking slave camp and working 16 hours out the day? This is one of our fucking athletes, our citizens, our fucking people. What the fuck, America? Why did it have to take that long? I'm just done on that part, man. And realistically, it makes sense why you have these wilding out ass fucking people like fucking Kanye West saying his dumb ass weird ass shit. You got wilding out ass fucking people who are like Alex Jones saying his wild ass shit. It's you need to get some fucking like home training in some kind of way, America. We got to do something. And my 2 minutes of like officially up, but with that, man, I say what I say when I say this. You got to get some fucking home training. You got to get some type of organization going on, America. Catch up, boo-boo. Do your fucking thing. Get better about taking care of all your fucking people, not just 1 or 2 people inside of this country. With that, Jamel, JT, man, you know that Brittany Griner just got released. 1-to-1 trade. They're still trying to get another fucking dude. His name is Paul. I forgot his last name. Something Paul. They traded her for the what did he call him? The Angel of Death in Russia, or something like that. Because he's a gun arms dealer. So with that, man, I'm gonna start with you, JT, man. How do you feel has today been going, and how do you feel like this is ultimately? Let's go simpler. What is your perspective on the actual release of Brittany Griner? First off.
Well, you went on a long time about why it took 10 months. There's a lot of reasons why. Russia could be tripping. Like you already knew that they wanted to go through with a conviction on Brittany Griner to make an example out of her. So they didn't let her go until she had been fully processed and sent to prison.
Yeah.
So that to me was what, like 3-4 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Recent. So up until like a month ago, I believe she was there for 9 months. And then went to jail or whatever, the gulag as I call it, because I don't know no better.
Well,
but
it's
once she
popular
went
now
out
with Call of
there,
Duty.
once she went out there, If they got you working 16-hour days, whatever the fuck a gulag is, sound about right to me. So, but they had to fully process her. That mess took 9 months. In America, the same has happened. They took people in, pay cash bail. All right, well, we're gonna book your stuff out X date. Come back. We not so different. So when you go on talking about this stuff, this shows inefficiencies in due process is a hallmark of a failing country.
Yes.
So what we saw was much inefficiency. And as far as Biden is concerned, that wasn't a priority. The only reason Trump cared, he didn't care about these people. He wanted to look like America wasn't losing at all. That's all he wanted to do. And people like the way that looks. But Trump was willing to give up a whole bunch of stuff that he didn't know the value of in order to get the ops. He wanted to look good. He wanted to have the photo op, the PR op. You know what I'm saying? He wanted the opportunity to look good. And he didn't want America to lose. So he wanted to stick it to whoever and be like, look, we're winning. You know what I'm saying? So having Biden come over here and do it after the midterms, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what they were holding on for. Maybe Russia was like, nah, wait till after we don't want her going back. It'll look like a diplomatic win. Vladimir Putin might have known that would have hurt Biden because Trump running again. And he want his boy back in the White House. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of reasons why it could have took 10 months that are not very far-fetched, that are not far into conspiracy.
I mean, here's my thing, and I'm gonna go to you JT Jamel with this one, man. So when it comes to like this situation though, like, yes, I get it. Midterms is a thing. I know that, like, it proves that how much of it is not a priority. But the dilemma is the fact of, like, when you have a person who sit there and say that you are not black if you if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Yeah. But then you have a person who is black that needs your fucking help. I'm just saying, dog, what is really that? And I get
what's tomorrow.
Huh? What'd you say?
Said you're saying, oh wow, a politician is being disingenuous. Why are you shocked?
I'm not shocked about it. I'm just fucking frustrated about it.
And I think the real question is, why do we vote for these people again?
Yeah, and that's sad. And that's the fucking, like, really, really harsh sadness about it. At this rate, it doesn't look good. And I get what you said about it, JT, that, like, yes, he wants to look good. He wants to look fucking amazing while he does his while he did whatever the fuck he did while he was in office with Donald Trump. But at the same token, you know what I mean? It that shit got results in some ways, bro. Looking bad and looking weak, that shit looks that made a lot of people get fucking released in this case. And I would love to be able to see the comparison of the release rates or the pardon rates for both Donald Trump as well as also Joe Biden, because these two old white dudes have really been taking over our fucking, like, streams when it comes to politics. So let's compare and let's see. And I bet you the money we need to go to somebody that's a lot younger to be in office next time. Jamel, with that, man, you had something to say about this situation as well. But yours is a little bit different, man. It's really towards the actual people when it comes to it. So what is your perspective on this as well?
The major thing is how much people have a lack of empathy. There were people, and I was seeing this on, like, videos that I was watching, I was seeing it across social media, saying, oh, why did we work to release her? Why did we try and get her out? Or, oh, she broke the law in this country and in that country and XYZ. And my thing is that woman is a United States citizen. That woman is a civilian. It is our government's duty, unless she has caused physical harm to someone in that country, it's our duty to work to get her home.
Yes.
Now, there's all types of political machinations, a whole Ukraine war. Russia's a failing state in real time, and that's what took so long. But at the end of the day, I don't care if, oh, she broke a weed law. You got cousins, friends, family who are in jail, who've gone to prison for that bullshit. Would you argue that they shouldn't be out of prison? And then it's a separate thing that I kind of noticed, and it's something that I've been noticing for the last few years. I heard shockingly little from the wider LGBTQ plus community regarding Brittany Griner. I saw Black men speak on Brittany Griner. I especially saw Black women speak on Brittany Griner. I saw Black and minority members of the LGBTQ plus community speak on Brittany Griner. But as far as a wider coalition, a wider people having that energy and that passion to get this woman freed, particularly of the fair skin variety, I didn't see much of it. Now, I could be wrong. And if anybody who's watching this and hearing this, you can point that out to me. Hey, I'm happy to have new information and be corrected, but I didn't see it. And this happens so much in these movements, with movements that are fighting for women's rights. Black women often at the head of the line, often fighting out front, often getting their names out there. The founder of the Me Too movement, Black woman. So many of these projects, but yet when it's time to acknowledge the people who've done this, when it's time to give that credit, or when it's time when there's specific issues that affect Black women, it's often that Black women kind of, or they get pushed to the side. It's why Susan B. Anthony gets celebrated out the ass by feminists, but you don't really hear much about Sojourner Truth.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same token with LGBTQ issues. Black people, Black queer folks, Black gay folks, Black trans folks, they out there out front, usually with the energy, usually with that passion for these issues. And then when the time comes, push to the side, time comes, go into the background. It reminds me a little bit of that scene in Django Unchained where they're at the dinner and Steven's coming to get Calvin to kind of brush him off to the library, and Calvin stands up and makes a remark, says, you know, as talented as they are in the kitchen, sometimes adult supervision is required. And it feels like sometimes there are, you know, let's just call a spade a spade. White people feel that they got to take charge and lead on these issues. White women feel like we got to be the face of feminism. White people feel like we got to be the face of gay rights issues. And it's just frustrating because it's like, you don't see as much aggression, that much passion when it's our turn, when it's Black women's turn to get support, or when it's Black, queer, gay folks' turn to get that support. They don't really get that. And it's fucked up. So
it's like you know how you pass the offering plate around at church? Let's say a community is like passing the offering plate around, you know, but it could just be a regular plate, but just passing the plate around and be like, whoever needs this, you keep it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, our resources should go to that. And when we see something like how Brittany Griner got treated, it didn't feel like she was part of America's community. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Jamel. When that duty goes around, there are other groups willing to pick you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, like I know plenty of minority groups that like they will stick with you because you just with them, and that's just how they are. You know what I'm saying? But like something about America, like there is not a mesh there. There is a disconnect in the communities. We look at our own citizens and we don't see them as our neighbor, and that's our problem. You know, America feels disjointed like that. And then when it don't work, we're like, why are we surprised? This is what we keep voting for. We need to get rid of these people that have been around for 50 years. Just flush the toilet already.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that like we kind of just do need to reevaluate who we got in fucking office. Now, granted, there's an 18-year-old boy, 18-year-old mayor in Arkansas. Yep, that's the name. Jalen Smith. 18 years old, youngest Black mayor in the United States.
Just graduated.
And
high
I put
school.
high school.
He's the mayor now.
Yeah. I put this into context because I was with my kids when I seen this, and I said that like this kid is only 6 years older than my son, and 7 years older than my daughter. Like, I'm old enough to be this kid's dad. like at this point in time, like almost old enough to be this kid's dad. Like if I had a teenage pregnancy, almost, but
We
still,
all are. I
yeah,
mean, we all kind of are.
yeah,
In my case, it'd have been I'm a middle school dad, but yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's like teenage dad. I think that like if I would have had a kid at like 18, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty close. 17, 16, been pretty fucking close to having a kid or having to be this kid's dad. But still, nonetheless, like when I was his age, I was just graduating high school and I was focused on fucking trying to get accepted to college, what school I was gonna go to. This kid is like, yeah, I'm about to run this whole like city that I am. You know what I mean? Like the pressure that kid is probably have to go on. But at the same token, we need to come to a fucking realization that we need new blood. Now, do I think that 18 years old is a good thing? I think that that would definitely be a he is a perfect fucking field study, like actual like study to actually see how he does when in the office.
I'm gonna be real with you. I think that's a little too. I think that's a little too young. I think at least. I think you
Exactly.
need to be between. I feel you
But
need to be between 25 and at most 60 to be like run for a high government office.
but
You
see, he's
pass
not
60,
even.
60.
So what
Yeah.
is considered high government though in this case with being mayor? Because it seems like nobody cares about the mayor role, and that's the perspective of it. Mayors, what you aldermans and stuff like that. I mean, all those considered really truly like high roles in this case, this particular area. Because I mean, I don't know how big this town is, but he could probably have a town and it'd be only like about 2,000, 3,000 people in it. I mean, and that's a lot more manageable than going to a place like Grand Rapids where you got 15 to 20,000 plus people. So, what is considered, I guess you would say, um, too much to handle, I guess. But I do agree with you. At 18 years old is definitely fucking young. But I want to say kudos to the fact of the idea that he's 18 years old and he's the youngest black male. We got that win. But speaking of this, here's my 2 minutes on the clock on this one, bro. And we had this conversation before when he talked about Umbaku. This week, the trailer for Kenya Barris' new movie came out with Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, as well as also Nia Long sitting in the trailer. And this is a movie about Jonah Hill who wants to get married to Eddie Murphy's and Nia Long's daughter. And a lot of backlash is coming because of it. And I feel like when we gonna pick real fucking issues to fucking fight about, dog? When we gonna find real issues? Or when we gonna just actually just take a knee and like, you know what? I don't even smoke or drink, but sit back and smoke a blunt on fucking some of these damn issues. Because really, like arguing about the interracial relationship aspect of it, shitting on new projects that's coming out that hasn't even had a fucking chance to see the light of day or see the actual black screen that's at your house, it's becoming super petty. It's becoming super stupid. And I never been a person who sat there and said that like go against the idea of wokeness. And I'm not a person that's woke, but I do think that there's a self-awareness. But there's a point in time when self-awareness becomes a temper tantrum from a 2-year-old baby. And this is definitely that temper tantrum. I say fuck it, and I say let them boys make them whatever the fucking movie that they want. You had Eddie Murphy who went on SNL and did a Jeopardy episode where he was talking about writing a book about his hoe. I don't know if y'all remember that shit. And you have Nia Long, who has been basically like, and that's one of my shittiest moments for Eddie. That's one of his weakest moments. But that fucking skit was hilarious. Nia Long, who has been basically this black goddess and actor acting for us, she has been like seriously like high tier, fucking like when it comes to acting. And we shouldn't on that movie. Now Jonah Hill, I get it, but Jonah Hill is fucking funny as hell. The idea of the interracial relationship shit, it happens. We need to be able to accept the fact of like, bruh, interracial relationships happen, but we also need to accept the idea that hey, they may have two black parents that don't like that white kid. Don't get me wrong. I probably would be that parent. I wouldn't be fucking asshole towards them, but at the same token, would I be okay with the idea of my kid initially marrying a white person? I'll be fucking hesitant because of my fucking experiences with white people. I'm going to be honest. I don't like. Here's my one thing, bro. And this is my 2 minutes is up, but this is me being fucking salty. One of my things I've been very fucking honest about. I told y'all the truth, and I've been open about, hey, I am pansexual. I've been open about that. Y'all too is not a fucking secret about that. But at the same token, one of my other things that like I really know, I can't fucking date white women. I can't do it. I can't see myself long-term relationship with them. It's not a shit on them. It's the fact that I just know that we do not compute together. We don't. And the reason being is because the fact that I've had bad relationships and bad experiences where people took the fucking liberty to think because they're with a black dude or that they are around a black dude, they can go ahead and just punch and bag the shit out of them. I had a girl one time, dog, straight up in the middle of me fucking. Go ahead, man. What you gonna say?
Cosign. That's it.
They take fucking liberty to think because they can punch and bag your ass, bruh. And this more go probably JT can fucking attest to this, dog. I had a girl, dog, when I was dating. This is fucking like what? I was a freshman at the time. I had freshman in high school at the time. And this girl that I met at church, white girl, she straight up called her friend on three-way while we was talking. She said, "Oh yeah, we got some we just heard some new jokes and like, would you like to hear them?" And I was like, "Okay, cool, go ahead." And I was just like, listen to them. And what you call a bunch of black people laying on the ground, Afro turf. What do black people and fruit have in common? They both look good hanging from trees. Having these fucking jokes and thinking that shit is funny and ha ha he he to your new boyfriend, right?
So what you do for them hoes is then you play Strange Fruit by Nina Simone and you stare about them. How about that, Lee, for the entire song?
Yeah.
And be like, now you see why this shit ain't funny? Oh, that was a beautiful song. What was it about? Strange Fruit? Did you listen? Now we gonna play it again. Listen this time.
Yeah, it's a fucking thing, dog. And so they got people who are like really taking liberty with that type of shit. Jamel, you look like you have something to say, man.
Now I was gonna say maybe their delivery was off. It could have been. You know what? I shouldn't have said that. I was gonna say maybe maybe it was the way that they delivered the joke.
Ain't shit funny. Maybe they weren't funny from trees. That is not a funny subject. I don't give a shit how you slice it. That is not a music.
Man.
You will not get a guffaw from me. You might get a hey, shut the fuck up, motherfucker, something. But you're not gonna get no that's so funny.
Yeah.
And so like there's ways to make black jokes that are funnier than that. And like when you look at people and you see what tickles them, that lets you know about something. And some people, they need to have the good sense not to laugh. They need to hold their tongue, hold their appreciation, their amusement, and just sit on that for a little while.
Yeah.
And think about like what this entails. The problem you get is white people don't have those problems. They don't have those issues that they sitting on. If they do, it would be a personal issue, but they don't have systemic issues. You know what I'm saying? That they have to be cognizant of, they got to be aware of, to know their own history, to know when somebody is talking down to you. That is a talking down to you joke.
Yeah.
Those jokes are not good quality jokes.
Yeah.
I like how Ashton Kutcher on Guess Who, which is the Ashton Kutcher was the white guy trying to date the black girl and coming home to Bernie Mac, right? Yeah. You remember this? And that was a play off of Sidney Poitier's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, where he was a black guy trying to go to a white girl's house. Groundbreaking movie from, I believe, the 60s. And so this whole concept of the white guy coming over to the black girl's house, how do you bring some people together? With humor. So Ashton Kutcher said, how do you know Adam was white? Have you ever tried taking a rib from a black man? And that was funny to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, look, Jamel, that's funny, but it's not talking down. You know what I'm saying? It is talking over at them because don't try to take my food. It's not good for your health.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't play with my food. I'm serious about
I mean, that's the thing, man. It's and I really want to state this, man. I don't have no fucking problem with any fucking white people. I just know that like that long-term relationship, I just can't. I can't do it when it comes to that. I have a person that's in Washington State, and I consider her like my Washington mom, and I say this every single time, and I love it. And the reason why I call her that is because of the fact of like when I was in, I had to go to the hospital for a second when I was in the army. She drove me there. She drove me there. She stayed with me, then picked me up, brought me to my unit so I can drop off some paperwork to say that I was going to be off for a few days. And they were asking a question. They said like, "Hey, who is this woman here?" And she straight up told them. She said, "No, this is my son." And she asked him straight up, "Do you have a question about? Do you have a problem with that?" And then I was like, "Shit, cool." And that's a cool experience. But as far as like my experience with trying to fucking date people, that was of like the white race. Nah, homie. You have to have some melanin in that kind of case.
It's because there is a second set of societal calculations you have to make when you're Black.
Yeah.
And when you talk to somebody who are unaware of these differences in our society, in our day-to-day life, it is like you live in a alternate dimension. And it's like trying to talk to somebody through the Twilight Zone. They are literally not living in the same universe with the same rules. To be Black in America is to see a completely higher level of risk in everything that you do, and understand that the methods given to you are not methods tailored for you. And so, to be Black in America, like I just wrote it down. Nobody gave me away, so I made my own. That's why that kid was the youngest mayor at 18 in like a month or some crap. Like he fresh out of getting his little vertical license or whatever renewed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the kind of stuff that you have to be. So there's this resilience, and if they don't understand Black resilience, it's really like you're speaking a foreign language to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard to be aware if you're not in the culture, if you're not Black or adjacent to Black people, if you're not next to Black people, you have no idea that a friggin' hanging from the tree punchline is like the worst thing you can say, because that was a threat to their great grandparents. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like to have this ignorance, and again, no, ignorance simply means you do not know, you are unaware of this information. It's not bad to be ignorant, but it's bad to stay ignorant. So if somebody tells you you're ignorant on this situation, you go, "No, I ain't." Then you just saying there are no unknown unknowns. There are no things that I don't know about. And that's really what it feels like. It's dealing with white women sometimes. There's some stuff you don't understand. And when I'm trying to talk to you, you're just like, "Oh, this is regular." Nah, go get Brittany. Ain't she one of us? But it takes some time.
Yeah.
Somebody will cheer for her eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like, But that being said, the good thing about white women is they have some audacity. They got that caucasity audacity. And if you can put that in your corner, it can be very useful.
And that's what I felt with like I said, my Washington mom. I felt like I had that caucasity in that aspect of it. But go ahead. What you gonna say, Jamel?
Oh, hold on. I gotta answer my door.
All right, that's okay. Go ahead.
Anyway, cooperation. But you know what makes what helps with cooperation? Having a community. And then going to help the people out in your community just because you're in proximity to them. Just you being in proximity to me should make your life better.
Yeah. And that's what I say, man. Like, I really, really want to state this. I don't have no fucking problem with it. I just know that that's not my relationship goal.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
So that's just like how like they got people who are straight that only do that men are the opposite sex, people who are whatever like that. It's just not my demographic. It's just not my thing because of the fact that I know in my head, it's tough enough. Like I'm married to a Hispanic woman, right? It's tough enough where culturally, that sometimes we're going to clash, right? And a lot of times culturally, we're going to agree with some shit. But at the same token, like I feel like what makes me and my wife relationship strong with each other is the fact of one of the things. Now, this is not the peer list. Is when we can actually understand each other's like problems from that actual brown and Black melanin aspect of it. Whereas I don't think I'm gonna have that relationship when it comes to that person, because I'm gonna have to always feel like I have to explain why this is wrong, why this is right. Dog walking, no pun intended to what I do as a side job, but dog walking this person, or teaching this person how to dog walk through this actual like particular case. And I just know that I'm not equipped to deal with that. Kudos to my friends who are in an interracial relationship with other women or men who are white. And like, again, this is not me shitting on white people. I just know that that's not the relationship that I can have intimately in that romantic way. With that, man, we done fucking beat on this drum a little bit, man. We got 7 more minutes until we actually hit our fucking movie topic. But
I wanted to, before we go further, JT hit on that Grindr thing. One last thing, and then we can move on. The one group of white women and a lot of gay women who have been extra supportive of Brittany Griner were other members of the WNBA.
Yeah.
Got to give credit to them over the last, like pretty much since 2020, 2019. The WNBA, the entire body has been leading on a lot of subjects when it came to racial injustice, when it came to sexual injustice. They were the leading voices during the pandemic when it came to the sports world, as well as when Breonna Taylor was murdered in her bed, in her sleep. They were also out front and keeping her name out there. So I just want to give credit to those women for doing that.
That's community.
Yeah, man. You know, actually, fuck, kudos to, like I said, again, kudos to the fucking other people who have like you mean, like, I like the way JT said, I mean, when you use, I want to say this, I'm gonna twist it a little bit better. When you use your caucasity for good, those are the people that's pretty fucking down for the cause.
Those are the Bernie Sanders of the world. They get stuff done.
Yeah.
We need their help. That's the problem. So you got, black isolationists essentially be like, you all need to buy black, talk to black, think black, like that doesn't work. It does not work in America. It works much better when you mix it all up. Yeah. And so I'm always encouraging people to mix it up a bit. You know what I'm saying? If that means change the way you do, but that also means reaching over, across the street, talking to people that are near you and seeing what matters to them.
Yeah.
So I'm glad the WNBA out there shouting for folks without a voice.
Man, I asked this one.
Like here in Phoenix, that's been the biggest thing. Like you see on the arena at Footprint Center, you have Brittany Griner's initials because she is one of the key players from the Suns, and the Mercury are the most successful professional team in the state of Arizona. So they have on their support this entire time.
Like I said, the only thing I just don't like is how long she had to be over there, man. When it comes to that Brittany Griner situation, bro, I just don't like how long that's just fucking too goddamn long for a person to be over there just for a minor charge like that, especially in another country. With that, man, my other fucking salty statement is this, man. I apologize. I got fucking annoyed so bad just now. Damn, I got so fucking annoyed. Man, let's move on to our fucking movie, bro. Because before this is actually how I was going to end it.
Did you get annoyed because of what the movie was, or because of Brittany Griner again?
It was Brittany Griner again, but it was Brittany Griner again, man. I fucking that's such an annoying situation, man. Because I know that, like,
I thought you said.
I did. It sounded like I did say Grinder just now too.
That horse has been rotting for a week.
Yeah,
with all kinds of bruises.
Yeah.
I'm still laughing at that rib joke from Guess Who.
That's so fucked up.
That was a pass.
Like during the entire time that y'all were talking and pouring your hearts out about interracial shit, I'm like, that rib joke. I was struggling not to laugh and smile. I'm like, that was a good one. Whoever wrote that movie. That movie, I don't know if it was good or not. I haven't seen it in a long time. That rib line, that got me right. history. Me dating white women, it's been horrible, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with my kids. JT is expressing himself, taking a red from a black woman. Boy,
well, let me correct myself,
boy,
man. If my kid dated like brought somebody that was home that was white, and I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna be fucking civil to him. I'm not gonna shit on a damn person. But am I gonna be like worried about the idea that like if my kid marries this person and this person they decide to have a family, like how are they gonna navigate that shit? You know what I mean?
Right. So
And
why don't you ask me?
how you gonna navigate that situation?
Listen, what you got to do is it all is based off of identity. And you have to remember that you get your identity from your father. You get your dad's last name in most cases, you know, Hispanics notwithstanding. But you get your identity. Who you are is from your dad. Your dad is generally the more rigid creature who gives you some structure. Men are more physical, down-to-earth beings than women in most cases. Women are the more emotional ones who teach you how to go out there and feel the world and how to, you know, respond and that kind of stuff. But really what it is you have to impart what blackness is to your kid properly. And the issue is most of people's versions of blackness come with a level of trauma, a measure of trauma. America has not been good to me. And you got all these other people who have no idea what the frick the problem is with this country. They do not see what is wrong with our country. They see a bunch of people going out there being crazy. They don't see the structure that doesn't work. You know, so it's a very careful thing that you have to teach your kid in order to make them be comfortable with being black.
Yeah.
Man, my nephew told me, I don't want to be black. And I knew why. But, you know, I had to have a conversation with him about it, you know, and last time he was here, I sat him down and I was like, you know what today is? This is the anniversary of Selma. And I taught him about, you know, how they wouldn't allow folks to vote. I told him, his mother is actually the darkest one. I was like, could you imagine going down the street with your mom and having to walk on the other side of the street? And he was like, no. I said, that's how America was just 60 years ago.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess here's the thing. I think it's a little bit tougher in the aspect of like, yes, by this time, if I'm thinking about partner, right? If they were talking about a lifelong partner, and like I'm being generous, very fairly generous when I say that, like, okay, if they're over 18 and they're establishing their dating life, not dating life. Now, granted, I know that my kids are probably gonna have like boyfriend and girlfriends between times, right? But like it in the case of like this is going to be the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. I can't explain that to a kid that's my daughter if she pulls home a white dude. I can't do that. Like I can't be like, oh, teach my daughter, teach my grandkids about being black. And I mean, do the right thing when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Obviously, granddad has to do that. Grandma has to do that. But like, I mean, that would be the concern for that. It's not me saying that like, yo, like hell no, man, you ain't marrying this fucking person because they white. No, I just know my kids might be stronger than me, and the goal is as a parent, I feel like as a parent is to make your kids better than you. And I'm just saying the one part, and I feel like the joke that Jamel has been he pulled out a video with Garfunkel about if Hitler said it or Kanye West
Hitler or Kanye West, and it was just a bunch of Hitler quotes and Kanye West quotes. And hey, who said who? The video was 13 years old, and it's horrifying.
Yeah,
it is uncanny. They called that so early. I was still banging the graduation.
Yeah,
they pulled up from,
but they weren't the only ones. Bill Burr also called that stuff.
Yeah,
Bill Burr called that stuff years ago too.
So honestly, and I think before we go into the movie review, I don't have much experience with either side of the interracial relationships or anything. Growing up in Detroit, black people, like black is all I know. And dating black, all of that, that's all I know. I can't imagine that experience. And so interracial stuff, the only way that I see that a lot of times, besides the people that I've met, it's on TV and it's from different stand-ups. And I'm glad you brought up Bill Burr. For the longest, like Bill Burr has been with his wife for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And for the longest time, I did not know Bill Burr's wife was black. And I am such a huge fan of that because he does something or doesn't do something that I really appreciate. Bill Burr doesn't pander. A lot of times with interracial stuff or white dude dating black woman, you see a lot of pandering. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it don't sit right with me. It just feels like you now have your significant other, your wife, as a prop instead of your partner. If you go back and you listen to the material that Bill has had, you could not tell that he was talking about some black woman. It's genuine, and I just, as a fan and as somebody who lives in this world, I appreciate that. You don't have to pander to me. Like I hate pandering. It's just like, dog.
Well,
people go too far with it.
But the way he tells it is just, my wife did it. That's it. Yeah. That's all he says. Yeah.
That's what I'm about to say.
My black wife. And that's the one knock that I have against Gary Owen.
That's what I'm about to say.
Gary Owen
is notorious for that.
Lean into it a lot. My black wife, or black people do this, or black people do that. I like Gary and a lot of stuff, but it's like a little too heavy. A little too heavy. With Bill, hey, my fucking wife is complaining here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that a little bit more. And that's why when I see the movies about the interracial relationships, I always, like modern stuff, I roll my eyes at. The rib joke from that Guess Who, notwithstanding, I roll my eyes at a lot of this stuff because it's just some white dude who's corny as hell trying to pander, and we trying to learn a life lesson here. And it's just like, dog, y'all not gonna top the Sidney Poitier joint from back in the day. It annoys me a lot. It very much annoys me. Like some of these shows and movies where it's just like, we got to show an interracial relationship.
So what it feels like is I think the difference is it feels like, a television production made by black people versus a television production made for black people. It's Fox Soul feeling. It feels like this is done for you to consume, that humor, that brand of humor. And it's more, I don't know, it's icky. But what he's saying is like, hey, I watched you guys do this. You know what I'm saying? Like we're a bunch of circus animals. You know what I mean? Like your observations sound like you're watching with peanuts and popcorn. You know what I mean? When that's how that humor comes off, that Gary Owen type of humor. Yeah. And so Bill Burr, by not having this, he just makes it about, a husband and wife, or two humans, two people living in the same house, etc. And that brand of humor is just much more clean because it's not his thing. It doesn't feel like he's using this as a stack of cards. I got a whole bunch of jokes I wrote about my black wife. It's just wife jokes. And if you got a wife, you can probably laugh at him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, man. I will say that I do like about Bill Burr, which, by the way, one of my favorite pieces by Bill Burr is actually not a stand-up comedy one. It's actually his animated show called F is for Family. I fucking love him playing this, Frank. And he just goes,
"Get through that fucking wall.
I'm gonna put you through the fucking wall." He said, "There's no
get the fuck out of here.
There's no wall out here. Well, I'm gonna build one, and then I'm gonna put you right fucking through it." So, like, Bill Burr does a really good job of that, man. But I mean, let's wait. Before we move on, and
speaking of ribs.
Yeah. Before we go on with this one, and I got two real quick ones. One is gonna be super short. The journalist who fucking captured Van Jones' apology apparently to people for black people being quiet. Yay! Quit your fucking job. Good job for redacting it and fixing it later. But my God, quit your fucking job. You must be tired. Don't go to work without drinking some coffee or some shit like that, bro. Just fucking skip your day, because that is some shit that you should not have put yourself in. Quit your fucking job, and I will put extra pepper with that fucking salt. Quit your fucking job right now. You know what? Go work at Macy's on Black Friday or during Christmas season. Give them a couple of shirts, jeans, and everything like that. You know, set up a couple of sales. You know what I mean? Ask a person, do you want to save 20% off your sale today? You know what I mean? Do that today. But don't fucking do that again. Like, don't ever fucking quit your fucking job. That is a really big fucking mistake to make right now during this kind of time when fucking Kanye West is a hot topic. You got fucking black royalty like Van Jones speaking on some shit, and then also you got Kyrie Irving has gone anti-Semitic shit. That is not a situation you fuck up. That's like me. I'm reporting on 9/11, right? And I'd be like, yeah, so a bird ran into a fucking building today. Does that equate to the same fucking thing?
Not at all.
Not at all. So how did you fuck this up? But we're gonna move on to this one. My next one is this, and it's gonna relate to our fucking movie. Ice Cube, come on, bro. Come on. I don't know if y'all seen this. Ice Cube went on Mike Tyson's podcast and said that he expects to get the fucking royalties. He not royalties. He expects to get the rights to do the last Friday movie for free.
No.
Go ahead. You got to say it.
I was gonna say, just as a fan of all three Friday of the Friday trilogy, with there's no John Witherspoon, there's no Tiny Lister.
Like half of the cast.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here?
Mike Epps is still there.
The dream is over.
So is Ice Cube. So Mike is Chris. I ain't seen Chris Tucker in nothing recently.
We can't without Willie Jones. It ain't gonna hit right.
Doesn't make
like
sense.
If you're gonna do last Friday, you need to Avengers, Infinity War, Endgame it, and bring everybody back that you can. Problem is, so many people sadly have died in the I don't know what the right word in the year since. Debo dead.
Debo was
Van Wilson, Janet Jackson dead. You got Roach from Friday 2, dead. You got John Witherspoon, dead. You've got Bernie Mac, dead. You've got so many people who had roles in these movies. Not obviously he's still alive and looks better than he did in the 90s, because I guess that's what making money does for you. Chris Tucker, he's still alive, and Mike's is alive, but it ain't gonna hit the same. It's like if you heard the Jackson 5 was doing a reunion tour, it's like, who the fuck gonna want to see that when the draw ain't there? Who the fuck? Jermaine, if you don't sit your ass down in that Play-Doh, that paper mache, that whatever it is on your head, you know.
Bro, you know what that was? That was the equivalent of me saying a bird hit a
Jackson.
fucking building today. That was the equivalent of me saying that shit.
Right.
Nothing is spectacular about the bird hitting the building. Going to a fucking Jackson 5 concert and realizing yeah.
Like honestly, I got an even better one. It's like you go to Destiny. It's like if Destiny's Child has a reunion and there ain't no Beyonce, Kelly, or Michelle. Who the fuck are these other chicks? No, who are y'all? Y'all were in V1. Y'all weren't even in the. Who?
Also, to quote alumni of Friday,
that
Michael Clark Duncan, I love Lil Michael. Come on, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't fucking say that. Damn, dog. Like, you can't do this.
That wasn't wait. That wasn't Michael Clark Duncan.
That was Bob Sapp. That was Bob Sapp. Yeah. But with that, man. Yeah. Also, another thing, you can't bring
it up last Friday. What should be last Friday.
Go ahead. Dad, this should be the last fucking. This will be the last fucking Friday movie. Fuck that. Ice Cube, dog. No more movies. No more fucking movies. And and you're gonna hear why we're gonna say no more movies, bro. But I get it. You want your product, but at the same token, when you did this movie about you got funded almost 100% to your movie, not your money, some other people's money, and then you underpaid people for the first fucking movie. Like, it was understood that it was under fucking paid for a lot of people. A lot of people were getting like $3,000 for this fucking movie. Do you think, JT, just fuck with me when I ask you this? If I told you, bro, you know what, I'm gonna do a movie today, bro, it's gonna be a really good movie. I'm gonna get John Witherspoon, the legend, like the comedian John Witherspoon, to be in about a third of the movie. I'm gonna pay him like 2 G's. You look at me like I'm fucking crazy, right?
Wait, he agreed to do it? Yeah, he agreed to do the movie. Okay, that's how that would go.
But
he said he was gonna do it for that.
That's what I said. But you look how fucking like you got John Witherspoon for 2 G's. What the fuck? Like, yeah. That's not a question that you ask. But at the same token, man, like I appreciate what it did for the culture. I feel like technically Friday should have died after fucking next Friday.
So,
but go ahead. What you gonna say?
So, which is your favorite Friday movie?
I would have to say hands down the first one probably was my favorite.
All right, Jamel.
Number 1.
Right. So I was watching Friday After Next and just remembering how Friday really felt like a day in the hood, and Friday After Next did not feel like that at all. It felt like they tried to make a bad comedy movie in a weekend.
Yes.
It was not a day in the hood. It was not a highlight of the funniest things that happened in these locations, the stories and legends all just in one movie. It really it felt like they was just trying to be way out there. Mm-hmm. Another thing that didn't help was the fact that Ice Cube didn't really write much of a script for this one. He wanted everybody to make sure you have a lot of room to improv. So that's why, like, a lot of the humor just don't hit snappy, is because it wasn't all planned out ahead of time, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So the movie feels really thrown together, and I gotta say, Friday After Next is by far the most far-fetched Friday.
Yeah. It felt like
since we're here and we're not in the segment, I gotta pilot it. Gotta pilot the segment. We're now in the movie review segment, folks.
Yes.
Okay. Friday After Next, the third movie of the Friday trilogy, the Friday cinematic universe. It includes the 3 movies, as well as a horrible animated TV show that aired on MTV2. If you've never heard of it, good. But yeah, First Friday came out, certified hood classic. Really elevated the career of Ice Cube. Next Friday came out towards the end of the decade, end of the millennium. Introduced the world to Mike Epps and Day Day. Funny, didn't quite hit right as the original, which brings us to 2003's Friday After Next. It is a Christmas film set in LA, as with the other 2 movies, and it tells the day or story. It tells stories on a Friday that happened. And there are elements of this movie that I feel work. There's some stuff in this movie that I laugh out loud for.
Definitely.
But when you combine them, it doesn't quite hit right. I would compare it to, it's like you have a meal at a restaurant and like, ooh, like these garlic mashed potatoes, they kind of hidden. The bread, it's okay. That steak, little overcooked, but it's all right. Each of the elements can work on their own in a bit, but combined, the meal isn't satisfying. Mm-hmm. With that being said, I always like leading things off with positivity. So JT, the voice, for you, what did you think of the duo in this movie? This is now the third duo movie of Ice Cube and Mike Epps. First, Next Friday, All About the Benjamins, Friday After Next. What did you think in this movie? How do you think this pairing fared in Friday After Next?
I didn't think that they meshed as good together in this film. It really felt like they got together and was like, yeah, dog, I can improv a scene with you. Yeah, I can improv a scene with you too. And then they just recorded the scene and was like, yeah, good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like it really just felt like thrown together from them two. And I don't know, it's because they was writing the movie and just making edits on the fly, as they might have called it, but it was mostly missed. Now, Top Flight of Security of the World, that's obviously the best thing to come out of the duo ship. But the two of them together really were quite the ineffective team. You see that at the top of the film when they get robbed in the middle of the night, and Ice Cube's the only one who gets up and tries to lay the smack down. But later on, when they also trying to lay the smack down, Day was also not terribly useful then either. So if I'm Ice Cube, I'm wondering, like, why? I know it's your cousin, but like, you need another person in the squad to actually help you out. You know what I mean? So I think I probably would have liked to see a third person in this mug with them. You know what I'm saying? Not just Dan. Cat Williams was in the movie, and his interactions with the duo, I think, were funnier than most of the duo's interactions together. And the way that he showed off his stuff, the way that he ran down the street, you know what I'm saying? Cat Williams was delightful. Cat Williams and Terry Crews, you know, friend of the family.
JT, before you hit on that, and actually we've got some duos to talk about, because that leads me to the next point and history. Like JT, I want you to keep your thoughts on the pairing of Terry Crews and Cat Williams. History. Another duo in this movie, in a movie that has a surprising amount of doubles acts. John Witherspoon as Willie Jones and Don D.C. Curry as Elroy, Uncle Elroy Jones.
Yeah.
What did you think of this pairing in compared to the actors who were their sons, Craig and Day Day? What did you think Elroy and Willie when they were together versus Craig and Day Day when they were together?
That's a great question.
I'm going to tell you straight up, bro. This is actually one of the things I was going to bring up. I felt like this should have been a movie where Ice Cube and Mike Epps should have been like the side characters, and they just popped up because they had a fucking like, oh yeah. It should have been more of, hey, Dad, man, the reason why I need to get this advance is because I got robbed last night by Santa. Oh, and then you still have Ricky Smiley pop up later in the actual fucking movie. This should have been a movie where Friday After Next, you should have had John Wood. This is after watching the movie. John Witherspoon and Don Curry trying to navigate, open up this damn business together with barbecue. I just thought that would have been a better movie, because you know what would have been the best thing about this movie? It would have been so stationary still, like the very first movie. The very first movie really took place on that porch. And then
on that block.
Well, more, yeah, if you want to be generous, yes, the whole block. But
really, that's what the strip mall was. It was a block.
It was a block, and it should have been. So was
their apartment complex, but they didn't focus on them like they did in the first Friday. Go on.
Yeah, it didn't. It didn't feel like that at all. So John Witherspoon and Don Curry should have been the porch. Should have been, if arguably, the porch should have been the fucking barbecue restaurant. And then, like, yeah, your new Bernie Mac, I guess, for the character would have been Cat Williams, and him trying to get his fucking Donna right, because whatever's happening inside of that place. Because Bernie Mac only had like 5 minutes in the movie, technically, in the first movie. And you could have had that with Cat Williams. You could have had that same thing, because like it was almost more interesting to see John Witherspoon on top of Terry Crews' mom after he just went to take a shit in like a place.
I heard they call you Sweet Big Willie. You heard that?
Yeah. Did your kid that Craig tell you that I said hi?
It's like, tell your daddy I said hi.
That was so fucking weird. So like having that shit was so fucking funny. You know what I mean? It was almost like, and if you notice, Day Day and John Witherspoon made a lot of the same jokes, going back into the mom as well. In that, like, they made the joke like Day was like, "Oh, you should line that up," and then John Witherspoon comes back like maybe 10 minutes later in the movie. Man, I like the way you lined that up over there. It was really a fucking good callback. It was really good movie. So I really wish that it would have been that movie. And you know what it did? It would have did that like I think Ice Cube doesn't realize. Ice Cube would have been the Kevin Smith in our community, because he would have had a whole like universe of people and not necessarily be always having to have your hand in it. Kevin Smith did like 7 movies and pretty much didn't speak in like about 5 of them at all. So, and built a whole universe around every single other person. So for Ice Cube to have to be the center for everything, after watching Friday After next Friday should have been about Day. His cousin there, Day just dealing with his shit. You know what I mean? And then it should have been just more layers to it, I guess. But it just shows that, like, I mean, you could tell that he's just a starting writer, and this duo, the duo should have been John Witherspoon. That's my long way of saying John Witherspoon and John Curry should have been the duo. You wasted Simone. Fucking wasted Simone.
Yeah. Some more. Yeah. She was good.
You had a queen of comedy on there and wasted her.
I'm gonna bring it back to you because you were going into the direction of talking about Terry Crews and Mike Epps. Terry Crews and Cat Williams. This is really the first big exposure for both of those two. In subsequent years, in pretty quick order, you'd see you'd see Cat Williams doing more stuff. Tracy Morgan Show, My Wife and Kids, Wild and Out and then he would have an explosion with the Pimp Chronicles, Terry Crews. White Chicks was in the aftermath of this, and that just led to him skyrocketing. What did you think of them as individual characters, as Damon, Terry Crews, and Money Mike? Cat Williams, Money Mike. What did you think of their individual characters, and then the interactions that they had as a parent?
So, back in the day, my sister had the DVD, so I actually watched all the special features, and I know they cut out one of Terry Crews' scenes where he gets ready for the party and he puts the phone books on. And that's what he's talking about. Like, you know, they're showing he still had the prison mindset. And that's like, he was just out that morning. Like, you got to remember that, like, he fresh out, you know what I'm saying? And so it was really to make you understand he's still on that convict mindset. And so that really kind of explains his behavior more, you know what I mean? Because Terry Crews was the most awkward part of this whole film. And you know, like they cut his moments shorter, and I just know this from watching the extra features. Cat Williams was he does a quality quintessential pimp type character, you know what I mean? Little dude. I'm kind of surprised he didn't swing the cane around none, you know what I mean? The whole thing with the razor blade was funny. But like those dudes and their moments in the show, especially interacting with our duo, were probably the best moments, that and Santa Claus at the end. And so I really, really liked Cat Williams' stupid pimp. It was so much fun to laugh at. And he does it so well, you know what I mean? And so he basically was able to spawn a brand off of that, you know, and just kind of keep a vein alive, you know. So he rode that wave for a minute. And it was pretty interesting to see him, like, knowing that this is where he came from. I remember when he was 2002, that's 20 years ago, fresh off the scene, Cat Williams, dog. And he was one of the funniest parts of the movie, definitely one of the funniest characters. Terry Crews, of course, always a pleasure to see. But you know, his awkwardness, he just brought a lot of awkwardness to the movie that I don't think was so well explained watching the film over again. And I wish it would have been, because, you know, even if they didn't add, it would have added to the story. It would have made it more cohesive, in my opinion. What's up, Jay? History.
See, I would have said that, like, I think that, like, Terry Crews, almost nailed it when it came to the inmate coming out of prison, because I've seen a lot of inmates come out of prison, and like obviously outside of like the aspect of like, yeah, he was gonna fucking rape Cat Williams' little ass in the fucking bathroom. Like he acts like him. He was like, he act like a dude that just got out of prison, who lived with his mom and got arrested instantly. Like the first question, yeah, he's probably gonna ask is, "Mom, can you make me a sandwich?" You know what I mean? Like he navigated that just like a fucking kid, which from the way that my experience of seeing people when they get out of prison or fresh out, taking a bid, I guess you would say, they almost are childlike and they trying to navigate shit the correct way. And it definitely seemed like that, because like even like the aspect of when he was in the party, he was kind of like, oh, you mean, man, fuck all these hoes. You know what I mean? He couldn't even calm down, and he did a really good job by just like always checking his spot, you know what I mean, and just like looking everywhere. And I seen guys when I went to go to Angola prison, and they almost was like, even when they were with their family, they kind of always still had their mindset of looking and scanning the room and being back and forward between everything. And I like the fact that you kind of seen them just kind of like, yeah, man, what's going on, Craig? You know what I mean? All being so fucking. I think the only weird part is like, give me a hug, niggas. Make it a group hug. You know what I mean? That was an exaggerated moment, but like still that aspect of like awkwardness. I think that he capsulated that. I just don't think that like
you didn't see the extended Tupac scene.
I seen that scene,
bro.
And the extended one.
Yeah. I think that like that's what I'm saying. Like it works. It fucking works. I thought it threw me off guard, dog, when that nigga said, "Damn, Tupac, you sexy, nigga." Like that shit was, I was like, Janet Jackson didn't even call that nigga sexy and poetic justice. God damn. Fuck.
Damn.
Take a real man to give a compliment.
Nobody called him sexy. Like, you know what I mean? Lil Kim, as crazy as she was about Notorious B.I.G., she was like, yeah, I love that nigga Biggie. Like, you mean, like, she didn't say like how fucking sexy he was. God damn. The thing about like one of the hoodest fucking rappers in the 90s, like, you'd be like, damn, that nigga sexy. It's just weird. But go ahead.
Well, you gotta think about it. He yoked up Ice Cube and had his head on his titty. So yeah, that's something to think about. So
come out. What's up, y'all?
What's up, y'all? Yeah, he kept bouncing the fucking chest and everything like that. What's up, y'all?
Just like JT, you listened to the you were watching the DVD extras. This is one of those movies where I actually enjoy having the commentary on by the cast, because Cat Williams, Terry Crews, Miss Jones and Katie Albert, they do the commentary for it. And it's actually really like their interaction while watching the movie is really funny. So we all agree that the movie is disjointed. I think a big thing that it has the energy of, it is third movie of a franchise that probably shouldn't have been a franchise. I'm looking at you, Matrix Revolutions came out around the same time.
You mean Revelations?
So, not the new. One of them is before.
I thought that was Reloaded. Or no, Matrix Reloaded.
Reloaded was the second movie. Revolutions was the third one, and Revelations was the one that came out a couple years ago. Anyway, that proves my point. We only needed one Matrix. Anyway, now let's put on our thinking caps.
Matrix is really using those hard R's, ain't they? Reloaded. Revelation.
Before I go into what we can change in the movie, I want to get y'all perspective on Donna, Craig's romantic interest of this movie, and the fact that Craig switches out girls like he's Batman or James Bond. Every movie he gets a new one, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's hard for me to say who number one in far the looks department. Like Nia Long that's Nia Long. But then you got Spanish Mama from Next Friday. Then you got Katie Albert. And so not focusing just strictly on the looks. I'm gonna start off with you, History. What did you think of Donna as a character and of the love interest that we've seen of Craig in Friday, next Friday, and Friday after next? Who is your preferred one that probably should have been with Craig if we do get a last Friday? And who is your least favorite? And JT, this same question is going to apply to
you. As a personal preference, not to be with Craig, just like as a person who was actually better, I would just say Nia Long did a really good job by being better, but I don't think that she should have been with Craig because she looked like she had.
Wait, I want to also include, in addition to those three, I also want to include
his girlfriend,
big booty hoes, come with it, Joy. I want to include her. So there's four that we got to talk about.
Fair enough.
All four of them.
Fair enough. So, but I'm about to, you know what, dog? I know this is gonna sound fucked up, but that seemed like that's more of his fucking speed than the rest of the fucking females that he's been doing. Because I will give this to him. He's been picking. He's really good at picking women who are kind of ahead of his league. I guess that's the easiest way to say it. So Paula Jai Parker, well, right away, we need to give her credit for that because Paula did definitely like rock that fucking role as well. So
got to lie.
Friday at next Friday was pretty decent. I think the problem is though with trying to pick one of these women is the fact that these women had less time than the extras on the fucking movies. Like you see them one time, like you see, oh yeah, she's cute. They walk in and then they may say like 2 sentences to them and then like, okay, cool. Well, we're gonna go to the next scene. So these women really only had maybe 10 lines to really fucking work with throughout these movies and maybe some improv. But I would say like the best ones that seemed like she had her shit together, Nia Long, hands down. The next one after that would be I'm going to argue Katie Arbery. She looked like she had her shit together. Your girl from next Friday looked like she was still kind of stuck in the limbo of her brothers and she wanted to try some shit, but it really didn't give no character development for none of them. So I would say that it just shows that Ice Cube doesn't know how to write those lines for females other than to make them ratchet. That makes sense what I'm saying? So because all the other females that he has in it, like you mean the ones that look like they got their shit together technically is his mom, and then Nia Long was the only two that really had their shit together. Even when Regina King was on that, you ain't gonna borrow no money from me. Like it was really like extreme ratchetness to it. Even his mom was like, well, you can go get some water. Like that's sassiness that you get from your mom, but then like the way that she behaved when John Witherspoon came in and everything else, it was just like it was ratchetness. So he only knows how to write ratchetness. And he doesn't know how to write a woman who looks like, damn, I'm going to get her for more than just her fucking body. That makes sense what I'm saying? So I would say that like, I would say that like realistically, it's tough to pick that. But go ahead, JT. Yeah. Who you pick?
I'm married, so nobody.
Honestly,
Sorry, my favorite actress is Nia Long out of the bunch. Looking at next Friday, she was the most bimbo-ish. Katie Aubert was the most bimbo-ish of the females, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And so it really felt to me like Ice Cube was getting these broads based off of who he was trying to holler at the time.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what it felt
I firmly
like.
agree. And that's what I'm saying. There's no
it felt like he smashed after production because there was zero chemistry with almost all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one who probably didn't was Nia Long, because Nia was probably like, dog, I was in Boys in the Hood with you. I don't have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's a very good point that you've been bringing up, History. It's the love interest that we've seen and how undercooked they are. I personally feel like if we were to get, again, the mythical last Friday, he would end up with Joy, Paula Jai Parker's character. I feel that for a couple of reasons. One, growing up in the hood, I've seen that before. I've seen toxic relationships where these people shouldn't be together, end up together, stay together, and have kids.
Mm-hmm.
I got a feeling that might happen with Craig and her. Spanish Mama from the second one, that was a fling. That was for sure a fling. Like they smashed a couple times, and then this is it. Katie Arbert, that didn't last long, and Nia Long had her shit together. Debbie had her shit together, so that wouldn't have lasted. That's just me. JT, you were talking about community. You're talking about the importance of community, and that brings us to the wider cast of Friday. Every Friday movie has a plethora of added characters besides the main cast. We've got, of course, the Reverend and Miss Parker, Mr. Parker, Hector. We got Devo, everyone from the first Friday. We got the Joker Brothers. We got Miss Joaquin, motherfucker. They just trying to be a smart ass from next Friday, as well as Pinky Nickel. And Friday after next, we got some additions to the crew. We got, of course, Samora's character of Cookie. Titties were plentiful with her, but she didn't really have a character. We got Molly, Mash Jabroni, Holy Moly Donut Shop. We got Officer B. Dixon A-Hole. We got Ghetto Santa. We got the Carolers. We got a nice mix of new characters added, no returning. So, for you, JT, who was your in the crowd MVP for this movie? Community MVP for Friday After Next. And then history, I got one for you. Same question to you.
I gotta go with it's a mix. It's a toss up between Crackhead Santa and the strip mall owner. Because first off, Crackhead Santa, when he tried to jump through that window and it didn't work.
The teeth chatter. The teeth chatters would not be with that scene.
He said that is the funniest thing. That is the funniest thing in this movie, dog. So, and honestly, like, I think that Ghetto Santa wasn't right. He should have been a crackhead, and like that's that. I think that's the difference. You know what I mean? I'm gonna sell all this stuff after Christmas. You know what I mean? Like he was really. They didn't give him no motivation. He was just a dude who stole. You know what I'm saying? And then that gives us to our cheap strip mall owner, where you see that they done busted a window out of the last security office and beat them dudes up, and that's why they quit and needed more security. But when John Witherspoon goes up to him and he said, "Take so good, make you want to slap your mama," and then he slapped him, and he slapped John Witherspoon back, and John Witherspoon said, "What?" And then he slapped him again. And then he slapped John Witherspoon back once more. Like, I'm sorry, it's reflexes. That was a fabulous exchange. Fabulous exchange.
Yeah, that is the thing about this movie, is that there is an abundance of stand-up comics in this movie. Some more. DC Curry, John Witherspoon, of course, Mike Epps, Cat Williams, Ricky Smiley as Crackhead Ghetto Santa. We got Maz, aka Moley. A lot of stand-up comics here. History, who is your community MVP for Friday After Next?
What was the budget for this movie?
This movie probably was like a $500,000 budget, bro. Let's be honest.
No, but answer the question. I'll do some research. I'm gonna mute myself.
I'm looking at the roster right now. You know what? I'm gonna push one person, and then I'm gonna say technically who should be the MVP, but I know that that's not gonna be the MVP. Chris Williams as Broadway Bill should be MVP.
Bro. I'm a Paul. You ain't Paul. You a nigga that steal.
Yeah, dog. He was such a good replacement for Ezel. He was you could tell that he tried to sell the shit out.
Brought that up. Ezel dead too.
Ezel is dead too. He tried to fucking he brought that fucking energy, and I really want to say Broadway Bill, hands down, should be considered the MVP because his part was funny. His part was funny. I'm not saying that everybody else wasn't funny, but you knew that John Witherspoon dad and like Don Curry was gonna be on some fuckery. You knew that like Cat Williams. I guess at the time you didn't know who Cat Williams was.
Hold up. This budget is $10 million.
Nah.
And you know where most of that went? To the music.
Ice Cube.
Because if you watch the friggin' credits, all of these songs, they got Snoop Dogg, they got Jackson 5. Ice Cube made sure it had his soundtrack that he wanted, but he paid for that. $10 million. This ain't no $500,000 movie. $10 million. Did 33.5 million at the box office. I don't know. I'm flabbergasted. I'm going back on mute. I don't know what else to say. $10 million.
So that's another thing I was going to say. No.
Your true
unmute this real fast, and I'm going to stay on this, and I'm going to fucking say my MVP in a second. JT, if you watch All About the Benjamins, and then you watch this movie, same fucking soundtrack, dog. The music that they were running on was the same fucking music, dog. Watch All About the Benjamins and then watch this movie, bro. There's a lot of the same fucking songs. The running scenes is all fucking dead, dog. A lot of this, man, fuck this movie. But I'm gonna say John Witherspoon. John Witherspoon is the fucking MVP. It's not me being biased, anything like that. I love how consistent John Witherspoon has been over all three movies. Like Day Day was cool in 2, but like for John Witherspoon, you could tell that he really wasn't given much, and he fucking ran. He ran in every fucking scene. I could tell you that I laughed and enjoyed every scene with John Witherspoon and Don Curry in this one, but I barely can remember laughing at too much of like Day Day and like Ice Cube. For Day Day to be like as rambunctious as he was in this one, and he wasn't like that in the first one, it just felt fucking awkward. And I like Day Day was like, you know, international like security guards and shit like that. I mean, that should have been a whole different Top Flight. Yeah, this should have been a whole different movie because Day Day was really, really like cautious throughout the fucking first the Friday at the next Friday. So this was 2 different characters, and you could just tell that like Day Day just was like successful off the first movie. So now he's gonna act like this in the third movie. So that was an ego movie for Day Day.
It looks like the only thing that's the same on here is "Shake Your Ass" by Mystical.
No, I'm talking about like the actual orchestra, the orchestra music, bro. Like the running scene. The actual fucking background sound.
You mean the background music?
Yeah, all that shit is the
same. It does feel a lot the same. I'm gonna give y'all my MVP, and it's I can't argue with Santa Claus. I can't argue with Moley. I can't argue with Broadway Bill. But my MVP, Loke, she's not much in the movie, but the shit is funny. It is the carolers at the mall, at the strip mall.
Yeah.
The old lady, man, that scene where they're singing and then Daddy comes up and it's just an asshole, and then she seems like such a sweet.
You can't talk to these old ass women like that.
Oh, and then when he touched her, she went off. That mother, I ain't no killer. Don't you touch me. Fuck you and your what? She was great. That scene is so hilarious, and it's just a snippet. And then she brings the grandsons up there doing what? Honestly, yeah, that's one of the realest things. Like, all right, I got all my thug grandsons. I try and get them to church. Oh, I was disrespecting the street. Sugar, go ahead, go after these niggas. And she threw the shoe at him. That shit was so funny. Oh man, I love that scene. But I can't knock y'all picks.
How can I ask a question? How these niggas still live in California? Because they made enemies with like Worms and his fucking crew. It looked like they gonna kill on sight. Then you got the same niggas that's like, I mean, the Chicanos in fucking next Friday.
I can answer your question before you even finish. Those guys are in jail. Yeah, the Mexican dudes, the Joker brothers, they're in jail. Debo's still in jail. Big Worm, he got no problem with them. He like Smokey paid him his $200, which seems like such an arbitrarily small amount. Even by 2003, like damn, he was gonna murder over two, but it was the principle. It's principalities about this.
Yeah.
We've hit on this movie being disjointed throughout. We've made fair points about this movie. Third movie of a franchise that shouldn't have been. So now I want y'all to put your thinking caps on.
Oh, don't do that.
JT, Mr. Jonathan Thompson.
Yes, sir.
If you could if you could redo 3 things in this movie to improve it, what would you do?
I think
history,
I would.
I'm gonna go to. I want the same question you, but I'm gonna take one off from both of y'all because we've said it. Movie should have been focused on Willie and Elroy running the barbecue shop. We taking that off the table. So besides that, similar to what we did with Head of State, where it's just make the movie about Bernie Mac. That's off the table. Besides making this a Willie and Elroy vehicle, what 3 things would you both improve or change about this movie?
I think the best thing that could have been done was to flesh out the background characters a little more. When people were on the screen, we don't know about them. Like, why was Crackhead Santa stealing? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been a great question, and it really was never answered. It really just looked like that was just what he does. Like, it was pretty unexplained. And so what it ended up doing was taking the humanity out of the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So I would really like to have seen more of that. We see it in deleted scenes and stuff that explain more about why characters do what they do. Those kinds of things are important. The movie wasn't too long. It was just terrible. Like, it was just disjointed, and which made it terrible. There was absolutely some funny parts in the film. And you got to remember, there is so many people crammed in this film. There is like 20, 30 people that you could have just be your wingman anytime. You know what I mean? A good supporting cast. You only need like 4 or 5 other people that you're not focusing on to make this movie work. And they had like a grip of folk. They had a whole party worth of people that you could put on.
Had a keyboard full of them.
Yeah, and I think that just little stuff like the details were left out of the movie. You owe me my money. A real landlady would have been like, you owe me my $623.77. You know what I'm saying? Like, just those little details would have been, I think that it really just felt like they didn't stop and think about, if this character was human, what else would they do? They just had you do a funny thing, go on, and we're done. You know what I mean? So it felt rushed. I would have wanted them to slow down and honestly write more. I know Mike Epps is funny, but honestly, having him just freestyle the whole movie was just okay in this instance. You know what I mean? I'm sure a lot of people got some laughs out of the dumb stuff that he did, but I really would have liked to see a little bit more writing in there. That's one of the reasons why I thought Friday was superior, is because Ice Cube wrote that mug. Serious. This mug felt like it was done in a weekend. So focus on the characters, slow down a little bit more, and at the end of the day, I think that some of the humor just didn't work. So I would really just want to have somebody else, another funny person coming in to help with some of the joking. Most of this, like, if a movie is funny enough, it doesn't matter how bad it is. You'll keep watching, you'll make it through the end and be like, hey, but I laughed though. And it excuses a lot of other stuff. But I think they played around with the ridiculous level, and they didn't keep it at one tone, like the same kind of tone that Friday really brought through. You know what I mean? It felt more serious. This movie did not feel like it was serious. It felt like they tried to make a comedy film. And so, I kind of wanted it to be just funnier. I don't know. It really felt ridiculous. It knew it was a ridiculous movie. And I think that's kind of one of the differences. The tone was just all kinds of different. It was okay, but like for a Friday movie, I think that you got, some things that you really trying to. This didn't feel like another day in the hood over here. It felt like something different. Felt like Soul Play. So yeah, those are my 3.
History. What are your 3 things? Not Would Jay not retreading the same territory that JT did? What would be 3 things that you would change to improve this movie?
This is kind of going to relate to
and again,
no.
Again, you can't say focus on Willie and Elroy.
No. I feel like we kind of had this conversation about like fucking Halloween, where Halloween should have had Halloween 1, 2, and then when 3 came around, this should have been a new thing. And that was the initial goal, was to go to something else, right? And so after that, and so a different aspect of what Halloween was. We had Craig had his fucking Friday the way that it happened. We had Day Day have his Friday the way it happened. I think we could have wrote that same movie for next Friday without Craig actually being a part of it, because really, I'm gonna be honest with you, Ice Cube really is not doing any heavy lifting in any of these movies at all. And so I really feel like whereas Friday you actually was centered on Craig, right? And I feel like we could have just did next Friday without Craig. This one for sure you could have did without Craig or Day Day. A lot of the same shit would have still happened. This dude was still stealing shit. You could have just had it robbing, instead of fucking Craig and Day Day, he robbed Cat Williams. Well, Cat Williams got to navigate his whole day. Or Terry Crews. Terry Crews and Cat Williams could have been the perfect fucking duo to fuck around and navigate this, and then you would have had John Witherspoon and Don Curry commercial come on, so good, just like your mom, and it would have been a good callback to them. And so I just feel like focusing on the ultimate universe that you were trying to propose in initial after the fact, right? Because like Ice Cube hasn't had these interviews where he said that he's made his own universe, but you didn't really make your universe. You made a trilogy of a movie where we follow these two characters in 2/3 of the actual movie. So I would have said focus on the community, double it down on what JT said, but not necessarily what John Witherspoon and Don Curry. There's no reason why these two guys who were minimal characters in the first two taking the fucking lead in the third movie. Now the second part is changing fucking audio, bro, because like realistically, you we consider a poetic genius, dog. There's no reason why how like next Friday, it fucking thumped, right? You could do it, put your back into it, like that fucking thumped. And so the music for this one didn't really feel like a hit, which is also part of like the experience and the ambiance for the first one. And the first one, the main part is you should have got a different director. I was just looking up this guy here, and this guy Marcus, he directed not only this movie, he directed Janky Promoters, and I want to say he also did something else. I'm sorry, I just X'd out of it. But this guy
sound like a guy who can get a movie done.
You can name that Janky Promoters.
Huh? Yeah,
enough said.
Yeah, he did those movies, and you're like kind of like, what the fuck, man? Like, what's going on with this guy's career? And so I would say get a different director, because this was terrible. The guy's career mostly was with music videos and filming comedy specials. And I'm not
maybe Janky Promoters was an autobiography.
Fuck. That's fucking true. That's so fucking real. That's so real, bro.
History, what you're describing, and it's one of my favorite episodes of The Simpsons, 22 short films about Springfield, which is basically taking a wide angle view of the city of Springfield. And so what you're describing is basically 22 short films about Friday. I like that. So now it's about time we kind of put an underline on this. Friday After Next as a movie and Friday as a trilogy, again, should not be. Friday as an initial movie feels like a tight day in the life. you just pick up in a random Friday in this neighborhood. It has lots of characters in the movie, but the characters all add and they don't overstay their welcome. There is a sense of an A, B, and C plot within the movie, and it feels like a whole cohesive story.
Yes.
Next Friday, while not as good, also has some of those same elements, not expanding too much when it came to the roster of new characters, just adding to the story and still being more coherent. Friday After Next, which in my opinion is the biggest issue, is you were trying to do too much. You were trying to add too many flavors to this gumbo. You were trying to add too many add-ons to your ice cream sundae. And at the end of the day, the movie suffers because of it. And as you were saying with direction, F. Gary Gray has a tremendous track record of movies. Marcus Rayboy has this in janky promoters. Enough said. With all that being said, I do want to just, before we get to our ratings, Barbershop is a better trilogy of movies than Friday. The acting is better. And it's, as JT is saying, community feels existent within those movies.
I think that
all that being said,
real quick, I think that's because Barbershop is focused on the barbershop. Friday After Next ain't focused on nothing in particular.
Yeah.
It's like the movie about nothing is what it feels like.
Well, here's the thing too, though, because I think the reason why we also can't like Friday After Next is because the fact that it's a repeat of the first two fucking movies. You have the love interest, you had the fucking chase scenes, you have the dudes that got to figure out how to get some money, and then it all happens and we end it with a fucking party. Realistically, like the first, and even if we want to say like, oh yeah, the first one we didn't have a party, they celebrated the fact that Debo got his ass whooped, right? And so we had this hooray movement, like we in the 70s, and like froze, and then that's it. And so this movie had nothing original about it, and you could have had more originality if you would have been like, oh yeah, well this one's gonna be about Cat Williams dealing with the fact that he got his shit robbed. You know what I mean? Like that would have been a better fucking movie. And you felt like you almost had, it probably would have been even a better movie if you didn't have to worry about the rent. Oh shit, we got to get our shit back because it's Christmas. It would have felt like a fucking Christmas movie. It would have felt like, oh damn, Santa took away Christmas for us. So you would have had these two dudes going against like crackhead Santa who stole Christmas for them. It would have felt like a better movie, man. So I just, no, this is definitely a hard fucking no and stop. No, I don't want Last Friday now, and because I just went through this.
So now that rolls right into our rating segment. Every movie we have our rating system: winner, edger, slumper, sleeper, dumpster.
Gotcha.
JT, for you, what would you give Friday After Next?
It's a high sleeper. There is definitely funny moments, but overall, the movie is. I will not watch it again on purpose.
Yeah, this movie, bro.
History.
I've had enough.
What about you?
If
History,
I could,
what about you? What's your rating?
If I could add a fucking whole like junkyard dumpster fucking system to this rating system, I would give it fucking to it, man. I feel like it's an insult, bro. After how good John Witherspoon was in this movie, like Don Curry was in this movie, Cat Williams and Terry Crews was in this movie, it's an insult of how good and how much these guys sold that shit. Like Cat Williams had no teeth in the front part of his mouth in this one, my bro, but he still sold being a cool ass fucking pimp in this. And the idea that he thought that he was the alpha male with none of this, y'all, none of this, and still was like, all right, baby, I got this. Like,
what teeth got to do with it?
But it's just the fact of like the idea, like that he's so confident when you know that you are really flawed. Like he sold that shit, bro. And I thought that he killed that. And so for this movie right here to not highlight that more and give me more Cat Williams, not give me more DC Curry and John Witherspoon, it felt like a fucking it was an insult after a while. Because I'm watching Craig and Day Day and they're not navigating shit at all. Craig is talking about he's the smart one, but he's really the bulk of the Bulk and Skull show in Power Rangers. So realistically, like I just didn't enjoy this, man. I didn't enjoy this. It's a horrible fucking movie. I would say it's a dumpster, bro.
For me, it's a low slumper. I think there's
you really enjoyed it, huh?
No, I didn't
really like the film.
I ain't say all that.
You said slumber, dog. That's a 6 out of 7. Damn.
That's the middle of the road. It is a middle. I said a low.
No, it's
slumber.
not.
That is very middle of the road. The only reason I personally did not go to full sleeper is because of the Bruh's barbecue commercial. That elevates it. The slapping of
fuck
that entire sequence.
JT, I gotta ask you.
Tastes so good, make you want to slap your mama, and him slapping the shit out of their mother. And if you pay attention, the way she falls kills me. She falls in layers.
All right, wait,
JT. If that scene was not in the movie, it would for sure be a sleeper. But
fuck that. We gotta bring you to the front of the.
We are wrapping up. You sir, you have been salty this whole time. You have filibustered a lot.
Y'all question me on Thor's Love and Thunder on this one, but goddamn, dog, what the fuck? You just this is your Thor Love and Thunder, dog. This is your.
I would rather watch this again than Thor Love and Thunder.
Dog,
history.
This is your Thor Love and
Ain't
Thunder,
no screaming goats in this one.
This
Ain't no screaming goats in this one. But we're not here to relitigate.
But you got chattering fucking crackheads.
No, screaming goats. I like them. I like those stupid screaming goats.
Yeah, I like that joke in 2012. Anyway, wrapping things up, it is now we move forward into the month of December. We have watched the Muppets Christmas Carol. We have watched Friday After Next. Wildly differing movies. And next week we have a movie. We will decide this off wax. The movie that we are going to be going into for our third week in December. Off wax. We gonna decide this and we gonna chat about this off air.
Nah, man, my movie. Y'all two got to pick y'all movies. My movie Jingle All the Way. Sinbad was sick.
Okay, well,
fine.
We are doing fine. You get you Jingle All the Way. Fine, you win. Anyway, December the 22nd will be our final show before we wrap up for the year, and it is a year in review. So me and JT, we were kind of hammering this out. Come with your big story of the year. Don't tell us now. We each have one. Come with your big story of the year. But anyway,
the biggest story
that is going to be you gave us segment this week. JT, man, if you don't shut the hell up, JT. It's your time to shine, brother. What is?
Why you taking my job? What the hell? You supposed to give it back to me,
sir? You have been acting up this entire show. You have been salty. You have commanded the questions. You have done enough, JT.
I'm just saying this is my job. You stopped me, so I would not be able to just be like, oh yeah, this is my part. This is what we do. Movie review. This is my spot, man. This is where I'm at. JT, we gotta bring your camera back, King. So with that, man, I'm gonna say this, man. Jamel, first off, where can people find you?
TikTok and YouTube at Eastside Reviews, and here on Thursday.
Awesome, man. Jamel, I always appreciate you being inside here, man. With that being said, JT, where can people find you, bro?
You can find me if you know where I'm at.
Fair enough. With that, man, you can find me on Thursday nights. Make sure you check out the podcast on Podvine, Spotify, wherever else you get your audio acoustical enjoyment from your pleasures from. Make sure you check out the historical voices from the Eastside, as well as also the Making History Making podcast on Spotify. My God, man, we got to save enough money to get this bitch on back on Podbean because Podvine, yeah. With that, also check out Fridays and Saturdays. I do some gaming, play some horror gaming, Evil Dead. And Fridays is Kill Your Friends Fridays, where we do private sessions and we all go against each other and find out who the best killer is. That's the goal. We getting 5 people and we're gonna fucking do it. Kill Your Friends Fridays. Saturday, just random, just like fuckery, and let's go for it on Evil Dead. With that, man, every week we get a little bit of stress. We gotta take a little bit of salt off of the actual rub. You know what I mean? We gotta make sure that we just throw that pan out. We messed up this one time, and we don't want to sound like taste like the concrete after a long winter day. So with that, we gotta figure out a way to navigate that. So sometimes we need what is called the voice of reason, and we have that voice of reason right here. So if you're looking at my buddy right over there on that side, that is actually JT the voice. So with that, JT always closes out our week with the voice of reason. JT, what is the voice of reason this week?
Voice wants me to talk to you about how to build a community. The best thing you can do is gather the people who are near to you. Gather them together, and then find something to come together about. The holidays is a great time to gather people near to you or dear to you, or gather people from afar and put them in the same spot. And when you do, come to some common ground on there. The people in your community who you interact with the most, if you know what common ground you share with them, you are not afraid to interact with them because you know now how you can deal with them. One of the biggest problems that I had with folks around here really is they just don't feel like so and so is part of the community. The homeless, for instance, we don't feel like the homeless are part of the community. They don't see other people who live around them and they want to go take care of. Remember, everybody has their own life in their own head. They got a whole different way, a version of how the world works. I call it the own fifth dimension. Everybody got their own fifth dimension. So when you can get people together and you can share ideas, you can share thoughts, you can share time and love and comfort and food, that is how you build a community. So make sure to put money into your community, put time into your community. And even if your community is afar, even if your community is digital, keep in touch with folks and let them know that they matter just because they're in proximity to you, and see how you can make their lives better just by being you.